Hey guys, so long time no see, but today I'm back with a new tutorial for these feather nails. So I think many of you have seen them already, and I know there are quite a few tutorials out there, both photo tutorials, text tutorials, and video tutorials, but I thought I'd do my own just with little tips and things that I figured out while doing these myself. There is a little bit of a learning curve, so you'll get the hang of it around the second or third nail. So let's begin. What you'll need is a base coat. Here I'm using Orly's Bonder. Then these are optional, which is base color, and I picked a nude color by OPI, and this is Samoan Sand. It has a little bit of a pinkish undertone when applied, at least on me. And I chose it because it kind of matches the colors of the spots in my feathers, and it's just something that goes well with pretty much any brown feather colors. And as you guys know, I like to make my colors stand out in as few coats as possible, so I tend to use something like a sheer white base color, and this is Funny Bunny by OPI. And then I recommend having two different types of top coats. So first is the one that you always use, your favorite top coat. So for me, that would be this one, Seche Feet. I like it just because it provides a very glossy finish, and it's also very quick drying. But then I also recommend using one that's just any kind of top coat, preferably one that isn't fast dry and something that's not too thick. You'll also need some tools. First is a pair of scissors with a pretty sharp cutting edge. You don't want to use dull scissors. You should get a pair of cuticle nippers if possible, or if you have nail clippers that can cut very close to the edge, you can. And then lastly, you'll need your feathers, and I have about 5 prepared out, but really you can get away with using just maybe 2 large feathers. Like for this one, you could probably use this one twice, seeing as you can do it once here, this way, on this side right here, and then maybe using the other side as well. And that would get you about 2. So the bigger feathers would get you 2 and maybe even 3, if you can work it out right. But I'm just going to use 5 just for easiness, because I got a package of feathers. It's a very small package. It's not very much, but I don't need them again later, so I don't mind just using all these feathers. And I recommend going to craft stores to get them. I know you can go to probably sporting goods stores and get really nice feathers and really large packages, but if you're going to do this manicure only a few times, you don't really need all of that. And this package was probably around less than $2. So yeah. And then one extra thing I'd like to recommend is that you guys have a little cup of water. Anything you can use, like any kind of cup of water, shot glass, whatever you want. And it just helps when you want to shape your feathers to dampen your fingers a little bit, like just to get a little water on your fingers, and so you can more easily shape the little pieces of the feather. So let's begin. So here I have my nails all trimmed down. I'm going to start with my base coat. Now I apologize for any awkward movements in this video because I'm actually left-handed, but I already did my right hand already, so I'm working on my left hand right now with my non-dominant hand. So here, this is just Orly's Bonder. I'm going to do that for all my nails. Now I'm going to wait till that gets a little tacky, which should only take less than a minute. It should take seconds. Then I'm going to go in here with OPI's Funny Bunny, a sheer white color. You guys will see what I mean after I apply it. Now my nail beds are not that long, but since they're kind of long. If you have short nail beds, you don't have to worry about this, but if you have long nails, then I suggest painting them like this, where you start from the middle of your nail and then drag it to the tip, and then go from the base and drag it to the tip again. And this just provides you a more even application. So from the bottom to the tip, you get nice coverages, versus just pulling it straight from the bottom to the tip, you kind of lose nail polish up here, and then it just looks very messy to apply just halfway on the top. It never really works out. So it doesn't have to be a perfect coat. As you can see, mine is pretty streaky here, but since it's the base coat and we'll be covering it with a nude color, it doesn't matter. Honestly, you don't need a base color because the feather will cover most of your nail, but I kind of like the look, as you can see here, where some of the base color protrudes off the tip of the feather, and so I like to have a nice base color under it. I prefer something that doesn't really contrast with the feather because I want the feather to be kind of the main thing, not the color. So I'm going to wait a little bit for this to get tacky, or at least somewhat dry, before I apply my next base color, just so I don't mix any of this first color onto the brush of my second nail polish. So I'm going to go in with Simone Sand. It can be pretty messy since the feather will cover most of your nail anyways. Sorry my camera cut off on me, so hopefully I'm starting at the right point. And now I'm just painting over my nails right now with my second coat of nude base color. Well, now that my nail polish is starting to get a little tacky, I'm going to try to figure out now what feather I want to use for which nail. So I'm kind of liking this feather, so I think I'm going to use this one, just the very tip of it. I don't really like it when it's too sparse like this, and I like to use the very edge of it just so I can see the edge of the feather and it looks like feathers instead of just like a pattern. So I'm going to use this one. Now you're going to take your top coat, just the regular one, not your favorite top coat. Or I mean, if you don't have two top coats, you can use your favorite one too. It really doesn't matter. Since Seche Vite is a little bit on the pricier end, I prefer to use my cheaper top coats that I don't really have any use for. So you're going to paint a layer of it on your nail, like so. Be careful not to get it snagged on your base coat if it's still a little tacky or wet. And while it's still wet, you kind of want to work a little quickly. You're going to position and press on your feather where you like it, and then just kind of push it down a little bit. It's going to soak up the top coat and get stuck to your nails. Kind of want to press it down at the tip too. As you can see, it's sticking pretty well. And then just snip off the excess. So as you can see, it kind of sticks out from the bottom of my nail. You can kind of see the feather fibers. So since I want it as close as possible, I am going to file it down later, but you kind of want to cut it a little bit, tiny bit shorter than your actual nail edge, just so it won't snag like I mentioned. So now I'm going in with my favorite top coat, taking a generous amount to fill in all the gaps between the feather and like the base of my nail. Since the feather and the base of my nail doesn't have a feather on it, it's a little bit, it's lower, kind of like a valley, you know, it's not raised. And then also make sure to coat the free edge of your nail as well, just so the edges that stick out will be covered in top coat.